The Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
Everybody was a segregationist, darling. And, you know, basically, everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were Republicans or not.
Tens of thousands of black lives were saved. That is a fact. I don't have to know about being black.
Darling. And, you know, basically, everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were Republicans or not.
Ask your question.
The first integration Republicans were winning the South since 1920. It was the outer states of the South. It was Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia.
What are you talking about?
You're to be dead.
What are your facts are just a little shaky. I mean, you're saying that because.
Buckle up, because this is about to get wild. Ann Coulter stepped onto The View and absolutely annihilated Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg when they tried to corner her on the topic of race. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you already know, I love Ann Coulter. She's one of the most fearless voices out there, and it's no surprise that these shows don't want her on anymore. Why? Because she doesn't care about their feelings, she doesn't care about being canceled, and she sure as hell doesn't care about being politically correct. She's here to speak the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it makes them. And in this clip, she does just that, completely shutting down the woke nonsense and leaving Whoopi, Joy, and the rest of the panel speechless. They didn't stand a chance. Let's dive into this explosive moment where Ann Coulter goes nuclear on The View.
Miss Ann Coulter. Ann. All right. Okay, I need you to tell me what you're trying to say in this book. Because we don't know what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is race-mongering has been very bad for America. Liberals use it to promote causes that have nothing to do with blacks and, in fact, harm blacks. And that excellent lead-in you just gave about O.J., I mean, I think that was the moment, having lived near New York City in the 70s and 80s, which was the golden era. It was like Trayvon Martin and Duke lacrosse case every day. With the O.J. verdict, white America said, that's it, the white guilt bank is shut down. And that ended up being the best thing that ever happened to black Americans. I meant that no longer...
Being acquitted was good for who?
Yes, because you had millions of white people watching with the equivalent of what in New York we used to refer to as the Brooklyn juries, who simply would not convict even guilty black criminals, not innocent black criminals.
Hold up, Ms. Coulter. Please stop. Please stop. If you're going to talk about race, at least know what you're talking about. At least know what you're talking about. Well, tell me how much you know about being black.
Well, this isn't about being black.
Well, but you just said, you just made all these statements about how black people feel. Tell me how you know that. Yeah, you did.
This is a book about black people. It is a book about white liberals. And I do know, and this is a fact, that once for years, Republican policies on crime and welfare, for example, were called racist. When they finally got implemented, after the O.J. verdict, I might add, by Giuliani in New York, Reagan and Bush judges overall, tens of thousands of black lives were saved. That is a fact. I don't have to know about being black, but I know because you're to be dead.
What are your facts are just a little shaky. I mean, you're saying that because black people, because liberals are what? Because liberals have abandoned black people now because. What? I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't think liberals ever cared about black people. I mean, 5 minutes after the Civil Rights Act of '64, they start calling everything that has nothing to do with black people a civil rights issue. Abortion on demand, homeless rights.
So are you saying that liberals don't care about black people?
If you're finding this breakdown interesting and want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Your support really helps me bring more discussions like this to the channel. Let's get back to the video.
Then are you saying Republicans embrace us in a warm, fuzzy blanket?
We're not embraced back. But yeah, we tried to.
So wait a minute. So the Southern strategy was a white liberal thing? No, it was a Republican thing.
No.
And also, Newt Gingrich calls President Obama the food stamp president. That's not racist?
This chapter.
Wait a second.
Do you really think that was, do you believe it was racist for Newt to say that the president is a food stamp president?
Well, he
Can you
wouldn't
dive
say
into
that.
that?
If we
Like,
could
you're the
just
guest,
skip
I'll let you
I'm
say
not a
that.
big fan of Newt, so if we could just skip that for a second and get to the Southern strategy.
Yeah.
Because I've specifically disproved it. It's an absolutely liberal folklore. Republicans were winning the South since 1920. It was the outer states of the South. It was Texas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia.
Voting. What are you talking about? We weren't
Well,
allowed
who
to
was
vote.
trying to get them to vote? Republicans were.
Yeah,
and the
but it's
first,
true.
and the first black
Wait
congressmen
a
were
minute.
all Republicans. And the first black governor was a
You're
Republican.
talking about way back.
That
So
Republican
after-
understand is so different from
Yeah.
No,
now.
that is definitely what we're told.
This
But in
Republican isn't
fact,
that bad.
the Democratic segregationists were all liberal Democrats. It is a lie that they were conservative Democrats.
Everybody
It
was a
Jay-
segregationist, darling. And, you know,
The
basically,
Republicans weren't.
everybody was. White people were. It didn't matter whether they were
Absolutely
Republicans
were
or
not.
not.
Ask you a question.
The first integrationists.
That argument doesn't even make sense. If everyone was a segregationist, then how did segregation ever end? If that were true, we'd still have segregated schools today. But obviously that's not the case. And this is exactly why Ann Coulter isn't welcome on mainstream shows anymore, because she says what no one else will. Everyone they bring on The View is too afraid to speak the truth, scared of being canceled. But Ann, she doesn't care. And that's why so many people respect her. Every election cycle, people beg her to run for president because she's one of the few voices left fearless enough to say what she really thinks.
14 in this book. The first
You know,
Republicans to be elected in the South.
Listen to my grandmother who was there, who remembers what
Howard
happened.
Baker, an aggressive integrationist, first Republican elected in Tennessee to the Senate. You have Winthrop Rockefeller, first Republican governor in
But you know, I have
in
a question
Arkansas.
about today. Let me ask
Integration.
you something about what's going on now. It seems to
But
me
the Southern strategy is a lie.
It seems
And
to me
it's
that
explained
voter
here.
suppression is happening in the areas where black people and Hispanics are, and they really is being promoted by the Republicans, not the
No.
Democrats. So in my view, and I have a different one from you, it looks as though the Republicans are really going against blacks, not the liberals.
No, and this
what
is
do
a
you say to
perfect
that?
example. Yes, it is, and it's a perfect example. No, I'll explain why. Of liberals using the label of civil rights to promote a liberal cause they support, i.e. voter fraud. In fact, one of the first states in the union to pass voter ID bills was Rhode Island, 85% Democratic legislature. And who pushed it? A black Democrat in the House, a black Democrat in the Senate. That's a fact.
No, you may have picked Rhode Island, but there are other states where it's completely
Why would
Republican
black
driven.
Democrats be pushing this? Because they had seen
Because they
voter
want the
fraud.
Hispanic vote to go to
Can I
Romney.
ask a general question? Every book that you write is very controversial and shocking, and it's usually an opinion that's disparate with everybody else's.
right.
Do you just write these books and try to find whatever it is that's going to make everybody say,
Well, do you believe this crap?
The reason, it's an excellent question. The reason I write these books is because I try to correct things that people believe that are
But
just
Ann,
false.
here's the question
And
for
this
you.
is a
But
lot.
this is a question because I was reading a book,
and you may be the only one that says it, but
Well, there are a few things. I mean, discovering that
what were
we
you
never
saying,
won
Sharon?
the Goldwater states and Republicans didn't win the Dixiecrat states until the Dixiecrats died out.
You keep staying back in the past. You got to come into the present. But this is what I want to say.
That's new to me. The rest of it, other people know.
In reading your book, you know, you keep saying if you will read chapter 14, if you will read,
Well, only on
you
this.
make such divisive comments and incendiary comments and hateful comments at times. It makes people not want to pick up your book and
don't
read it.
think
So
so.
I
People who
don't
agree with her read it.
Yeah, well, people
Oh,
agree with
yeah.
it.
No, I
But
don't
I'm
think
saying,
so.
you
You
know,
name a hateful comment in here.
If you think what Ann Coulter is saying is hateful, then you're simply rejecting reality. Everything she stated on The View was pure fact, not opinion, not spin, just facts. But the moment those facts make the panel uncomfortable, they shout, "That's hateful, that's racist," instead of addressing the truth. Are these people really this clueless, or are they just pretending to be? Because at this point, you have to wonder, are Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest just putting on an act to keep their narrative alive? Every time The View brings in someone new, they somehow manage to be even dumber than the last. Is it all for ratings, or are they really this far gone? I want to hear your thoughts. Are they playing dumb, or do they actually believe this nonsense? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.